team, it's Gina Brooks. Have you ever heard the saying, a closed mouth is never fed? I know that's kind of a strange saying, but I kind of get a kick out of it because it kind of makes me think about my whole life lately because I seem to not be able to shut my mouth and it's being constantly fed. But that's not the context in which we are going to discuss that saying today. What it really means is if we don't ask for what we want, we'll never receive it. So if we keep our mouths shut and don't explain and don't express what we need, we'll never receive it. And I mean that in our personal lives as well as our professional lives. Communication is everything. It's the connection amongst human beings. And one of the things that I have found in the workplace particularly is we have this fear of asking what we want and what we deserve. The problem is with that is that if we never ask, we'll never know that it was possible or not. And I think our own fears of rejection, and I know for myself, that's one of my biggest fears is rejection. One of the things I've challenged myself this year to do is to work on my self-esteem and my self-worth. And part of that is being able to handle rejection. And another thing I struggle with is being vulnerable. I'm a great actress, if I say so myself. If you've seen any of my spoof videos, it's very easy for me to be someone else, right? But sometimes it's very difficult to be vulnerable and show your weaknesses. And that's something that I have personally challenged myself this year to do in these videos, in my writing, is to show me, show you who I am, weaknesses and all. And what that's done for me is I've delved into who I really am as a human being, not this person I portray at work or not this person maybe I portray to strangers, but truly who the essence I am. I've been able to find out more of what makes me me and also adjust things and try to be a better person in order to be a more productive employee and be a better mother, wife, friend, partner, co-worker. So we're going to talk about how we can motivate ourselves to ask for what we want. And I think there's this natural feeling, not only of a feeling like we're going to be rejected, but feeling like we're selfish or that we're being greedy or not worthy of asking for something. And that's sad. And I think that all comes back to shame. I think a lot of us wear a lot of shame from maybe stuff that's happened in our childhood, past experiences in our personal lives, or even failures in the workplace. We feel this shame to be able to ask for what we want. But we have to get through that hurdle in order to grow, in order to succeed, in order to gain personal confidence, and also in order to gain credibility. And if you want to be a leader, it's really important that you're able to express how you feel and what you need. So one of the things I really want to stress is that without asking, you're never going to know. And if you're anything like me, I'm a worrywart and I'm an overthinker. And I think I'm going to delve into those two subjects in future videos. When you're an overthinker, you're pondering worst case scenarios before you even ask the question, right? So you're already prophesizing what the answer is going to be and before you even ask the question. So it's really important that we realize what is the worst thing that can happen. Let's put the worst case scenario out there. The worst case scenario is that the answer will be no. Worst case scenario. I mean, it's not like you're losing a limb. It's just the answer no. And not that no isn't, I don't want to hear no, but we're going to hear no's. You've heard no's. You can take a no every once in a while. And when you take those no's and eventually get one of those yeses, it makes it even more valuable to you. So I know that, I do get a lot of employees who come to me with different work issues. And a lot of them are very fearful or ambivalent about maybe addressing some of those issues, particularly with their supervisors or managers. Because I think saying how you feel and asking for what you want from someone of power is even more intimidating than maybe sharing what you need or what kind of love language you have with your partner or mate, right? It's completely different. There's a safety, usually, with our families and friends that might not necessarily be there with our supervisor or decision makers. Nevertheless, you will never be fed with a closed mouth. I just switched that whole saying around, but it still means the same thing. You have to ask what you need and what you want, and you need to feel confidence and safe in knowing that the worst case scenario is no. So let's say you're having an issue. I always encourage employees to take the initiative, mostly if you're having concerns about your performance, or maybe you're unsure about what your supervisor feels or thinks about your performance. I recommend that you go in, ask if you can have some time with your supervisor, share with them your concerns, and come prepared with a plan. So let's say you've been written up or you've had some negative evaluations and now you're worried. I encourage you to meet with your supervisors. Ask them if you could sit down and talk to them and tell them that you understand that they've had some concerns about your performance and that you have a plan ready and you want to speak with them and go over some of the ideas that you have and you want their input and feedback. Because really, that's all we're really asking in life is for feedback, right? Don't be fearful of feedback, because it's that feedback that's going to give you the information you need to be better, to perfect your skills, to perfect your confidence. So I encourage you, if you have an issue with like a supervisor or a coworker, ask to meet them in a place that's safe, in a closed environment, and show initiative by instituting an open dialogue and saying that these are some things that have been on my mind and I was hoping that we could discuss them. Okay? So now let's say you have a request, you want a promotion or you want a raise or you want a different job. Those are all scary. Again, go in with the mindset that worst case scenario is no. And sometimes you are going to get a no, and you're going to have to accept that for a while and go back to the drawing board. So let's say I want a promotion, or, okay, so why do I deserve a promotion? I'm going to come prepared with a report of all the wonderful things that I've done, how I've helped the company, how I see my role in the company. I'm going to give examples, and I'm going to be very specific in what my request is. Usually if I've asked for a promotion, it's going to be that I'm going to be adding additional duties and responsibilities to what I'm currently doing. So let's say there's no money or budget for that. The fact that you put it in their mind, you will be able to revisit that. And you could even say, can we schedule 6 months from now a revisit on this subject? If you never ask, you're never going to know. And if you wait for 6 months to ask for the first time, you might have to wait another 6 months to get that promotion. So my point is, ask today. Ask what you need today. And be vulnerable. And I'm saying this in terms of everything in our life. Be vulnerable. And that's been a weakness of mine, is being vulnerable and fearing rejection. But I'm challenging myself to get outside of my comfort zone, to do things that I've never done, public speaking, trainings, things that I've never done that's been a fear of mine, but I'm making myself vulnerable. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for feedback. I want to know, how did I do? How can I do better? Because what that does is it gives me more things to work on, more confidence, every time you gain confidence and every time you believe in yourself more, the next time you want to ask for something, it's going to be a lot easier, and those no's are more often than not going to turn into yes. Well, I think that's all I have today. I mean, wow, this might be a short video. I say that and it's probably not, but I hope you gained something, and I hope that you challenge yourself to ask for what you deserve. Be humble when you ask. Know you deserve it, and know that the worst thing that can happen is a no. Come on, that's not that big of a deal in the times we're living in now, right? A no, I'd go for a no right now any day than dealing with not being able to go to a restaurant and have a cocktail. Anyway, talk to you next week. Bye, guys.